I'm Jennifer Sertl, Director of Marketing and host of Circle Optics 360 Pulse Immersive Technology and Innovation. Today is a very special episode. If you're listening to this podcast station, you can see a recording of us live on the Circle Optics YouTube channel as we are at Seneca Lake at the dawn of the very first day of spring, capturing the sunrise with Hydra, the world's only stitchless 360 camera system. I'm here with our COO, Ian Geiger, as well as our very special guest, John Kucko. John joined WROC Television Channel 8 as a sports director for News 8 now in 1991. He has worked as a sportscaster in the Rochester market since 1989 and covered the Buffalo Bills' 4 Super Bowl teams, the 1989 U.S. Open, the 1995 Ryder Cup, and the 85th PGA Championship at Oak Hill, where he anchored WROC TV's coverage of golf's final major. He's a native New Yorker who grew up in Binghamton and went to college at SUNY Oswego. He's been honored with the 1999 Lowell McMullen Award for Local Sportscasting Excellence. He's been awarded 5 times by the Associated Press for Best Sports Coverage, and he received an ESPN's ESPY Award for Best Sports Moment in 2006. At the height of his career, he's made a significant pivot and began celebrating New York beauty, posting a photo a day of really beautiful nature scenes from all of New York. And we are here today with him taking pictures of the sunrise with the camera system Hydra. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to the program. And
Thank you.
What a beautiful spot.
It's
and
a good spot in the Finger Lakes.
Day.
You know, it's a nice spot to begin the day. I'm here a lot. You can see the sun coming up over the horizon. You, in the summertime, have all sorts of pleasure craft and everything else around here, even an occasional train if you're lucky, but you got to wait that one out for a few hours, but it's worth the shot.
That's amazing. So we're in an era of reinvention, and you've certainly reinvented yourself from literally such a very well-respected and award-winning sportscaster to now really being an inspirational photographer. How did this transition occur?
You know, it's nothing I foresaw. As a kid growing up in Binghamton, all I wanted to do was be a sports anchor, and mainly because I wasn't a good athlete, wasn't the biggest guy in the world, and I wanted to be at the big event. And so for 30 years of my life, I anchored sports, many of them in Rochester at the CBS station. I covered every home and away Bills game for, I think, 26 years in a row, did 19 Super Bowls, was on a couple hundred stations across America as the face of the coverage for big events, Daytona 500, Super Bowl. I walked away from all of that almost 7 years ago to pursue digital. Never took a class, but I could sense that the tide was turning as far as the way consumers get their information and content, and I wanted to be part of that. And so the last few years of covering the Bills, including a week-long trip in London when they played there against Jacksonville, I would bring my DSLR and just go out on the town, wherever the Bills were playing, and just kind of take shots, and got into it really intensely.
Yeah, that's
here we are.
And I think, well, it's amazing, to be a learner and to kind of leave what you know to kind of begin again. That is, such a remarkable thing. And were you just passionate about it, and you wanted to go where you thought the market would be? Well,
I've always had passion in whatever I've done. I felt that if it was a passion for you, it was never really work. So my sports days, I was very passionate about sports, and I wanted to take that same principle to digital and do what I could with this. And here we are. I never foresaw any of this. My Facebook page is approaching 400,000 followers. In any given month, I can reach 15 to 20 million a month on there. I mean, it's become a blowtorch of sorts. I got followers from all over the world that I can showcase the beauty of the Finger Lakes and do what we're doing. I just love it.
So, passion, getting up at 5 a.m. in the freezing cold to get a 1 to 5 second shot. That's amazing.
Look, this is nothing. There are times I get out in the elements and the snow's flying at 4:35 a.m. The roads have not been plowed and the wind chill's 20 below. This is as calm as it can be, really. I know everyone's frigid around here, but I am known to wait hours in much worse weather to get a good video or a still or whatever.
Can you just give us a little bit of a tip about capturing the best moment?
There's no bad shot. And I use myself as an example. I never took a class. I don't consider myself a photographer. I more or less call myself like a digital documentarian. The beauty of digital and the technology is you take as many shots as you want. If you don't like what you're seeing, delete it and try again. And, practice. And with repetition, the results will come. And I think, the years of working in TV as a sports guy certainly allowed me to appreciate good composition. I think I know how to frame a shot from working in TV for a long time. But I just like getting out and enjoying the moment. You know, I will take time. Like, you know, you look to your left right now and you see the ray of sun coming over the water. I'll take time to look at the moment, you know, not just be concerned with clicking the button and getting the shot. And so that's kind of stuff I'm into now. So that's I never saw it coming.
Ian, I know you had some questions about his experience as well.
We're going to put Ian in the spot here. Meanwhile, we're missing a good shot here because the sun's just coming right over the water right now.
Oh my gosh.
Back up a little bit. So you have quite a platform with over 30,000 people anticipating where you're going to shoot next. How did you build this platform and how do you nurture it?
Well, so my Facebook page in particular, I started it 6.5 years ago, the week after I got out of sports. And it's actually 391,000. 30,000, maybe that's another platform. It might be too closer to my Twitter following. But, you know, I wanted to create something that became a pipeline where people could get information and see the beauty. I stay out of controversy and politics and all that. When I launched it, you know, the country was coming into some rough times politically. There was a contentious presidential election taking place when I launched this, and then COVID happened. And so between the two, I was a beacon for positive as far as my content generation. And I'll give you an example. When COVID started 3 years ago last week, basically is when the world shut down, I started a nightly video offering called 60 Seconds of Serenity. I'm now on 1,000, I think tonight will be 1,096 in a row. I've done one every single night. Everyone's different. And I've been able to pick up lots of followers from around the world because of that. A lot of people can't get out anymore for a variety of reasons. And so I'll take them somewhere, you know, I'll show you a babbling brook down at Watkins Glen or a raging river at Letchworth, like I saw the other day after all the rain and snow melt. And so, you know, you provide compelling content and people will respond.
What is it about photography that brings people together?
I think, you know, photography is something everyone can relate to. Everyone can take a picture. The technology is so good now, not with just what you've brought here today, but with your phones. I mean, every phone now seemingly has built-in stabilization, 4K video capability, and even people that may have considered themselves not a photographer can take a really good shot. And, you know, everyone has become citizen journalists out there in one way or another because of these phones. And just look at the way the world has changed just in the last 3 or 4 years because of what's been captured on phones. Need I say more?
What are your tips for capturing the best moment?
Again, don't be afraid to take multiple shots and challenge yourself. You know, you've got the beauty of being able to look at your work seconds after you captured the shot. And if you don't like it, delete it and try again. And you didn't always have that in the days of Kodak film. You know, you had to get the shot developed, and sometimes you get the roll back and 30 images and 25 of them were duds. And it costs you a pretty penny to get those developed. Now, you don't have to worry about any of that. And, you know, we're blessed with the technology we have. And no better example than what you brought with us here today. I mean, it gets better and better by the day. And what you're working on going forward is going to even be better than this. And that's just the times that we're in. And they're fascinating times for people that like to document things.
I love that you're, you know, like, again, you left to follow the technology, like the story. It's exciting that you actually saw an emerging technology and decided as a student of that technology to move forward. Where do you see the role of technology evolving in journalism and photography in the future? And then also, how does 360 imaging play into where you see the technology going?
Well, you know, the technology's always been something I've paid attention to, especially in sports. You know, I remember when they put a camera on a cable and called it a sky cam, and that was a big deal. Heck, it began with a John Madden telestrator. You know, wow, he's putting a circle on that defensive play where the fumble occurred, you know, and we were wowed by that. And now it seems so archaic, that technology, but that was really, you know, in the Olympics and ABC Sports back in the day, and Jim McKay and Roone Arledge were pioneers in good broadcast television sports using the latest technology. And now we look back on those times and it's kind of laughable how primitive it really was, but not at the time. It was not. It was spectacular. And so with the advance of technology across several sectors, it allows, you know, the benefit is for the viewer. And how they consume that product, how they consume that live sporting event, whether it be from the comfort of sitting on a bar stool looking at their phone or sitting at home watching on a glorious flat screen with surround sound technology. They're going to benefit, and it's changing the technology so quickly that it's hard to get your arms around it, really. And from a benefit standpoint, live sports events, I mean, it's crazy what's going on with these live sports events and what they can do. You can, it won't be long before you put a camera on a football player's helmet. And they've already done some of that, but I mean, in the NFL, I think that day is coming, and they already do it in F1 racing and everything else. So very interesting.
Can you share maybe one of the most challenging moments, like photography moments, that you had to get the shot and it was really challenging?
Yeah, I mean, there's several. I mean, I'm big into Facebook Lives. And on my Facebook Live broadcasts, I reach, in some cases, many millions. I've had a couple that have gone full global. And I was down not far from here in Montour Falls, about 25 miles south of where we are right now. And they had just gotten an overnight rain of about 7-8 inches. And some of the waterfalls, one in particular along this route, this is Route 14, runs north-south. So it goes through Watkins Glen into Montour Falls. So there's a waterfall right at the town line between Watkins Glen and Montour Falls. It's called Aunt Sarah's Falls, usually a trickle. On that day, daybreak, it was a torrent. And the cars were going by, and there were tree parts coming off it like torpedoes and missiles. And I was there for 4 hours straight doing a Facebook Live, and it, I think, got something like 16, 17 million views, people all over the world. And, in those moments, you're trying to keep your camera, because I'm doing it from my phone, dry. I'm live, so there's not a lot of room for error. You've got a global audience, a true global audience, so you've got to get your information right. You got to be composed, but you also, it's soaking raining out. I'm kind of vacillating between my car and being out there and trying to keep the equipment, the phone in this case, workable. And so those are some of the challenges. I've been known to wait 5-6 hours in, wind chill in the teens to get a train video in the snow. Like I used to do at Letchworth before they brought the trestle down. So, those are challenging times, but you dress warm. You try to hope your batteries don't die. And that's the biggest challenge in those kind of cold conditions. And do a lot of drone flying. Wind can be problematic, but I know my limitations, and you just go forward.
That's great. Our founder and inventor of the Hydra, CEO Zach Niazi, was not able to join us this morning, but he had a question. As someone who has covered so many extreme weather events, how do you think 360-degree cameras could be used to document and raise awareness of the impact of the change of climate change?
Well, I mean, 360 technology can be really spectacular when you're, for example, we live along Lake Ontario, the Great Lake to our north, and every couple of years erosion and high lake levels are a very big concern. And you bring something like this out there to really give the viewer an idea of what the situation is like, not just looking outward, but looking on both sides, right and left, east and west, and behind you, where you may have massive erosion taking place. And so you can capture that episode in one singular image with this kind of technology, whereas before maybe you couldn't. So there's a myriad of ways to showcase the firepower of 360 when it comes to content gathering, whether it be something like that or harsh snowstorms. That might be a little trickier. You want to keep things dry, I imagine. But, the possibilities are endless with the technology and with this kind of technology here. There's no question about it.
That's great. Thank you for joining us. You're here with Sertl Optics Chief Operating Officer Ian Gagger, as well as just a world changer, inspirational digital camera.
Digital documentarian.
I mean, photographer. I'm not a photographer because I never took the training for it. We got talented photographers.
At least you know it's live, right?
So, it's all good. Nothing like live. Come on. Nothing like live.
Thank you for joining us, John. And I do want to do just a shout out to our producer, Scott Fitzgerald, who also got here early in the morning to be with us so that we could have this live program from Rockbox Programming. Thank you so much.
We'd like to thank the Institute of Optics, Cider Optics, Genius New York, Luminate Accelerator, our partners, Aerial Robotics and Archangel Imaging, and AUVSI. And by all means, we'd love you to subscribe to our program. Find us on Twitter and LinkedIn. We are very interested in how immersive technology positively impacts safety and human connection. This is your host, Jennifer Sertl, and you can contact me at jennifer@sertloptics.com.